So, what if we could actually measure a nation's happiness? Not with dollars and cents, but with, data. We're about to dive into a project that's trying to use AI to do exactly that, to decode what it really means for a whole country to be doing well.
For almost a century, we've boiled national success down to cold, hard cash. GDP, right? But think about it. Does a bigger economy really, truly mean a happier population? The evidence is starting to suggest, well, maybe not. So, on one hand, you've got the classic gross domestic product, GDP. It's all about economic output. But on the other hand, there's this rising field of happiness economics. And this looks way beyond just income. It's looking at things like social connection, health, and our sense of purpose. It's a huge shift, really. We're going from measuring what a nation produces to trying to understand how its people actually feel.
But here's the massive problem. If you really want to understand happiness, you have to dig into thousands of personal stories from surveys and interviews. And doing that by hand, it's not just slow and expensive, it's super subjective. What one analyst calls satisfied, another might call neutral. It makes creating a reliable, consistent metric almost impossible.
Okay, so this is where the tech comes in. We're moving into the solution, which is all about using AI, specifically something called natural language processing, or NLP, to read and understand human emotion, but on a massive scale.
The first tool in the AI's toolbox is sentiment analysis. And honestly, at its core, it's pretty simple. The AI reads a piece of text, like a survey answer, and just identifies the emotional tone. Is this person feeling positive, negative, or just neutral? This gives us that powerful top-level answer to the big question, are people happy? But knowing if people are happy isn't really enough. We have to know why. And for that, we use something called topic modeling. And this is the real game changer. The AI sifts through thousands of responses and automatically starts grouping words and phrases into these recurring themes. It might find that topics like work-life balance are driving all the positive feelings, while job security is where all the negativity is coming from.
Now, for this to be anything more than just a cool party trick, it has to be accurate. The project is aiming for an ambitious 85% accuracy in its analysis. Getting there is what turns this from an interesting experiment into a genuinely reliable tool for policymakers. And here is the business case in a nutshell. By automating this whole process, the project is looking to slash the analysis time by a staggering 70%. And think about what that means. It frees up the human experts to stop doing tedious data entry and start focusing on what really matters, interpreting the results and figuring out what to do about them. So, we've got the what and the why. Now, let's get into the how. Let's take a look at the blueprint for actually making this AI a reality. Whenever you're developing a big AI project like this, you basically face a classic choice. Do you buy a tool that's already built? That's fast, but you can't really change it. Do you build your own custom model from scratch? That gives you total control, but man, it is slow and expensive. Or do you assemble a solution using powerful existing building blocks, APIs, from companies like Google or OpenAI? And the recommendation here is to assemble, especially for a pilot phase. This just hits the sweet spot. It's fast, it lets you leverage world-class AI that already exists, and you can prove that the whole concept works without the massive upfront cost and time of building from the ground up. And this isn't just some idea on a napkin. There's a real phased plan. The first 3 months, that's the pilot, just proving the concept. The next 6 months are for implementation, turning that pilot into a tool people can actually use. And then, from 12 months on, the goal is to scale it up, pull in more data, and keep refining the model. But of course, with great power comes great responsibility. Trying to quantify something as personal as happiness, well, that's an ethical minefield. We absolutely have to talk about the serious risks involved here. This quote just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? It really sets the stage for the biggest challenge in all of AI. You see, the AI learns from the data we give it. So if our data reflects our own biases as a society, the AI won't just learn them, it could amplify them. So that means we have to navigate 3 huge risks. First, algorithmic bias, making sure the model doesn't treat certain groups unfairly. Second, data privacy, because wow, this information is deeply personal. And third, political manipulation. You have to prevent a single happiness score from being twisted to justify bad policies or silence people. Okay, Now, this is where it gets really, really tricky. To make sure the AI is fair, that it doesn't develop biases against certain groups based on, say, their age or where they live, it needs to see that demographic data during training. It has to know who it's listening to. And yet, to protect the privacy of the very people giving us this data, we have a huge ethical and legal duty to strip out those personal details. So you see the problem, right? This creates a fundamental paradox. The exact same data you need to ensure fairness is the same data you have to remove to ensure privacy. Solving this is one of the absolute central challenges of the entire project. The ultimate danger here is creating something called a social bias feedback loop. This is a nasty one. It's where stereotypes that already exist in society get baked into the data, and then the AI learns them. The AI's biased outputs then get used in the real world, reinforcing those stereotypes, which creates an even more biased society, which then produces more biased data for the AI to learn from. It's a vicious cycle that has to be broken before it even starts. But despite all these serious challenges, if, and it's a big if this technology is developed responsibly, it could be an incredibly powerful new tool for society. So let's zoom back out and look at the potential future of data-driven well-being. So what does success actually look like? Well, it could mean smarter public policy, where governments can finally measure how their decisions impact citizens' actual well-being, not just the economy. In the business world, it could mean happier, more productive employees, because companies get real insight into what drives satisfaction. And for all of us, it could mean having a real-time pulse on our collective soul. And that brings us to the final massive thought here. The ability to measure happiness in this much detail opens up a really profound question. If we can truly quantify all the little pieces of well-being, does that mean we can engineer it? And maybe more importantly, even if we could, should we? That's the question right at the heart of the happiness code.